The Quiet Street in Bushey. On the evening of July 9, 2024, a quiet residential street in Bushey, Hertfordshire, became the site of one of the most shocking family massacres in modern British criminal history. The neighborhood, lined with tidy hedges, parked cars, and detached homes, was the kind of place where violence felt distant, abstract, and something that happened elsewhere. At approximately 7 p.m., emergency services received frantic calls reporting a violent attack at a family home. When police arrived, they encountered a scene of extraordinary brutality. 3 women dead inside their own house, killed by a man who had once been welcomed there. The suspect was quickly identified as Kyle Clifford, a 26-year-old man with known ties to the family. Within hours, the case would grip the United Kingdom, not only for the brutality of the crime, but for what it revealed about rejection, entitlement, misogyny, and escalation. Carol Hunt was 61 years old, mother of 3 beautiful daughters. She was a woman known for warmth, stability, and kindness. Friends described her as protective of her children and cautious about who entered their lives. She was the emotional anchor of the family. Louise Hunt, 25 years, was intelligent, independent, and socially active. She had been in a relationship with Kyle Clifford, but had ended it weeks before the murders. Those close to her later said the breakup was deliberate and firm. She had recognized troubling behaviors and chose to walk away. Hannah Hunt, 28 years, was Louise's older sister. She was present in the house at the time of the attack and became a victim not because of personal conflict with Clifford, but because she stood between him and control. The 3 women were related not only by blood, but by the simple fact that they lived together, and that made them vulnerable when Clifford returned. Kyle Clifford was the man behind the mask. Clifford was not a stranger to the family. He had dated Louise and spent time in the Hunt household. To outsiders, he appeared unremarkable, quiet, socially withdrawn, and occasionally awkward. But beneath that surface, investigators later found a pattern of resentment and fixation. Following the breakup, Clifford reportedly struggled to accept rejection. Those who knew Louise later stated she had made it clear the relationship was over. There was no ambiguity. That clarity, rather than ending the situation, appears to have intensified Clifford's emotional collapse. Police later described his actions as planned, not spontaneous. One of the most disturbing elements of the case was Clifford's choice of weapon. Rather than using a firearm tightly regulated in the UK, Clifford armed himself with a crossbow, a legal but deadly weapon requiring strength, preparation, and intent, alongside with the knife he carried that day. This choice was not accidental. It indicated premeditation, willingness to inflict prolonged violence, a desire for control rather than speed. Investigators would later state that Clifford entered the house deliberately, knowing who would be inside. What happened inside the Hunt home unfolded rapidly and mercilessly. Carol Hunt was attacked first. Police believe she was restrained before being killed. The methodical nature of the assault suggested Clifford intended to neutralize resistance and assert dominance. Louise and Hannah were then attacked in succession. Evidence showed a combination of crossbow bolts and knife wounds. The violence was personal, close range, and unforgiving. This was not a chaotic burst of rage. It was structured, paced, and controlled. By the time Clifford fled the scene, 3 women were already dead. When police confirmed the identities of the victims, public reaction was immediate and visceral. The case gained national attention in part because Carol Hunt was the wife of BBC horse racing commentator John Hunt, a respected public figure. But even without that connection, the case would have horrified the public. The idea that a rejected boyfriend could return and annihilate an entire family struck a deep cultural nerve. The murders forced renewed discussion around violence against women, stalking, and coercive control, warning signs following relationship breakdowns. Kyle Clifford did not surrender immediately. Following the murders, police launched a large-scale manhunt, warning the public that Clifford was armed and extremely dangerous. His image was circulated nationally. Transport hubs were monitored. Armed units were deployed. Approximately 24 hours later, Clifford was located in North London. When police moved in, Clifford shot himself with the crossbow, sustaining life-threatening injuries. He was taken to hospital under armed guard. He survived. Once medically stable, Clifford was formally arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder, additional weapons-related offenses. Police confirmed the killings were targeted and domestic in nature. The Crown Prosecution Service later stated the evidence demonstrated clear premeditation, including weapon acquisition and planning. Criminal psychologists examining the case identified several key traits: entitlement, following rejection, fixation on a former partner, lack of emotional regulation, perceived loss of status and control. This was not impulsive violence. It was retaliatory violence, driven by the belief that rejection was an injustice requiring punishment. Experts emphasize that such offenders often interpret a breakup not as an ending, but as a humiliation. John Hunt, husband and father, was not present at home at the time of the murders. In later statements, he described his loss as beyond comprehension. The impact extended beyond one family. Friends and neighbors required counseling. Schools and workplaces held vigils. Church rendered prayers and support to family and friends. National conversations intensified around coercive behavior in relationships. As of late 2024 and into 2025, Kyle Clifford remained in custody awaiting trial proceedings, with prosecutors seeking life imprisonment. Given the nature of the crime, the number of victims, and the level of planning, legal experts widely expected a whole life order, meaning Clifford would never be released. The Kyle Clifford case is not only about 3 murders. It is about the danger of minimizing controlling behavior, the escalation that can follow rejection, the illusion that violence comes out of nowhere. In reality, it rarely does. This case stands as a devastating reminder that the most dangerous moment in an abusive or unstable relationship is often the moment it ends. Carol, Louise, and Hannah Hunt did nothing wrong. Their lives were taken not by chance, but by a man who could not accept autonomy, boundaries, or loss. Their names endure not just as victims, but as symbols of a truth society continues to confront: shocking impacts of that horrific incident. It's always good to keep our emotions in check. Rejection is not violence, but violence is a choice. Thank you for watching, and kindly subscribe to my channel. Like and comment your thought about this story.